Whoop. I guess I gotta unmute to start talking. Hey everyone, Georgie here with Ukraine Matters. Hey, hey, hey. Tell us where we can find the last video. I will indeed tell you. So, the last two songs, one is called Ukraino, which is by the band Sky. You can find them if you Google, but this is with Russian subtitles. Sorry, Russian, oh my God. With English subtitles. That is the one song. And the other one was named, basically, I'll just link you the channel. It doesn't have a lot of music that is Ukrainian and translated, but there are a couple of nice songs. So I just decided that I'm just going to add them here because they are new. I haven't played them before, and they're really good, especially Ukraina. Ukraina was kind of popular. It's a song that came out obviously before 2022. But I think it's a song that came out after 2014, if I'm not wrong. It was quite popular. Whenever I was visiting Ukraine last time, I would hear it when I go to the bars or whatnot. How are you guys doing? For a change, we are actually starting not even late. We are starting early today. Very glad to see you. Well, so big topic for today. I think we cannot escape the discussions about the deliveries of the systems. I wanted to essentially make a stream and talking about what systems being delivered and whatnot, but I think we just cannot escape it. So I just decided to let a little bit more free flow discussions, and if you find some topic that we would like to jump into, then we'll just basically talk about this. A new sharp haircut? No, I just washed my head actually. Yes, smart locker, locker. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing. I'm instantly in advance sorry for all the mispronunciations. And as someone noted on the last video, that I should obviously learn how to use definite and indefinite articles. So the thanks. The best news, obviously, for me, I got notified on them just before the stream start. So it is summarized the best by Thomas R. Steiner that basically described it this way. He said, so be like Denmark. Denmark bought 19 Caesar 8x8 self-propelled howitzers. Denmark entire artillery is 19 Caesar 8x8 howitzers. Denmark donates 19 8x8 howitzers to Ukraine. Be like Denmark. So I am extremely happy that I live in Denmark, and I'm extremely happy for what... I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say Denmark as my country, but I will say Denmark as my country. I'm very happy for what Denmark is doing to support Ukraine. It's amazing. I am very, very happy that Denmark, despite being Western country, is really confident in its stance on this war and this unjust war that Putin has brought onto Ukrainian people. Yeah, Denmark, absolutely. Obviously, we're gonna discuss, guys, everything. What Sweden has been doing. It's also like every country, we're going to be talking about, you're going to be dropping me news of what's already been promised to be delivered. And we're going to talk weapon deliveries. I think it's going to be quite an extensive session. We're going to definitely talk about the deliveries of Sweden, which was completely unexpected. And the package that Sweden is providing is massive. But we're also going to talk other countries. So there's going to be plenty of talking around. And obviously we're going to talk Germany, right? So, because Germany, we already had a little bit of a talk with, oh my God, camera, stop. There we go. Yes, I will express my take and so on, because I cannot just express my things about Germany, because I'm already in a hot spot here. My couple of last posts that were picking a little bit, like, poking at Germany. Okay, yeah, I shouldn't touch the subject before I make a preamble. So let's wait it up. Let's delay a little bit to talk about Germany, and let's talk about some other things. Those that try another language. Ja. I mean, hvis du siger, du er dansk, så er du dansk velkommen. Tak. Jeg er virkelig glad at være i Danmark. Danes are Vikings and Ukrainians are Cossacks, made the same forged steel. That's unfortunate that I'm none of them. Well, technically, I do have Ukrainian blood, so with some twists and turns, I can technically be counted as Ukrainian. Small diameter bombs, yes. We're going to talk about all of the ammunition, small diameter bombs. I already talked a little bit in the last video. For sure, guys. Thank you, Min. John, I'm not going to touch right now on Scholz in Germany. Let's come back to those discussions just a little bit later, because it requires me to make a preamble, because otherwise people are already going mad for me saying anything about Germany by this point. Yeah. Olaf, yes. Absolutely agree. Let's definitely not talk. All right, so what did I miss? Guys, remember, if you would like me to read whatever you're saying, write an @ sign with Ukraine Matters coming after it, because then it highlights for me, and I am not reading the chat that is that you write in between yourselves. I sometimes read it, but it's a very, very, very low priority. So whenever you loud and clear when you turn to, yeah. Tell us where we can find the last vid. Richard, the last vid is on the Ukraine Matters YouTube channel. It's not a bad channel. I mean, the guy is a little bit of a prick, but I think you can listen to it from time to time. So Ukraine Matters channel is pretty okay, I guess. If you really liked it, you can actually like, subscribe, and share links to this stream, because this really helps the channel grow and really helps people coming out to stream. And it's very important, because we see that a lot of the nonsense neutral channels that are actually spouting Russian propaganda with a coat of paint are getting hundreds and thousands of views every day, while some of the actual channels that are covering, such as mine, or for example, people have been posting this to me for a while now, and I promised I will do a shout out, so I'm gonna do a shout out today. I've actually added him to the there we go. Oh yes, so it's Professor, I'm gonna butcher the name, Professor Gerdes reviews the news. So basically, this guy, this Professor Gerdes, he is a guy with actual titles. Well, I mean, I technically also have titles, but he's an actual professor, I guess. And he is definitely for Ukraine. My biggest challenge was that when people recommended to me his channel, I was not completely sure whether or not he supports Ukraine, or he is like some other channels trying to just, milk the topic essentially. But no, he is actually quite nicely supports Ukraine. I have it in my community, like in my, not community, but in my, like when you go into YouTube channel, there is these tabs at the top. Oh, why is my cursor not being captured? Oh no, wrong camera. Ay. Ooh. Yes, there we go. That was stream setup. So yeah, now the cursor is being captured. So yeah, when you go to any YouTube channel, you have these tabs at the top, and you can open here channels tab, and here will be like channels that the person is essentially recommending. And I have the same on my channel. So when you go onto Ukraine Matters, you can find all of the different channels that are really nice and are either supporting Ukraine or doing quite a good job of informing about what's happening in Ukraine. So try out this guy. Maybe it's something for you. For my liking, I gotta say, he just speaks just a little bit too fast. And for me, a lot of his information is just a little bit, how do you say, a little bit too fast. Like I cannot completely understand one topic when he's already switching to the next. But hey, maybe this is something you like. So he's definitely on the proper side. History Legends is exactly what I'm talking about, Hyper. For a longer time, I've been neutral to it because I never really watched his content. I've seen his content at the start of the war where he's just basically was saying things, and then within a week they were proven completely wrong, like completely. And I say, okay, so this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But then, like as the war progressed, I noticed that his channel is like huge and people really listen to him. So I watched a little bit more of his videos, and now I say that he's complete full of shit, and he's just spouting nonsense Russian propaganda with a coat of paint painted on it of neutrality or something, whatever. Not like it's a completely like gone person for me. Like I don't want my community to ever listen to this because he's been proven wrong more times than I've brushed my teeth, I think. And I brush my teeth every day, twice. Are you aware of the concept of dishonor culture in Russia? This is actually a very good question, Roloff, because sometimes it's hard for me to talk to you guys. You know why? Because I've been born in the Soviet Union, you know that. It was technically the territory of Latvia, so I'm a citizen of Latvia and with all the stuff, but technically I've been born in the Soviet Union. Like I was born in 1986, so like 5 years before collapse. And in those essentially 5 years and after, I've had a lot of that culture in, and I also had like friends that are also had some kind of Russian heritage and so on. And I also followed a lot of Russian culture because it was somewhat dominant. So when I saw the video of Perun about the concept of ranyo, I was actually shocked because it's such a no-brain concept for anyone within this understanding how Russia works or operates and how Russian society works, that for me, I would never even thought about explaining it. So sometimes I'm just explaining it and making assumptions without even knowing that a lot of people in the West don't even understand something like the concept of ranyo. Because for me, well, it's obvious, like, you know, that's everyday life for people in Russia, for every Russian. It's something that is like so ingrained that it's not being thought about actively. So that's why surprising for me was when Perun expressed this Vranyo concept as like, I was like, yes, I mean, isn't that like obvious? And then I started thinking, it's like, wait, hey, it's not obvious? How is that possible? And then I was like, yeah, wow. So yeah, obviously that culture is completely prominent to the Russians. It stems from the Soviet times, when basically because the chain of command is a top down, the only person you're responsible to essentially is your direct how do you say, the direct chef. And kind of over time the cultures of like a little white lie just became so obvious for people to do that essentially a person after person after person just took it for granted that there is this some little white lie, because the Russian command says we need to reach this goal within 5 years. If you reach the goal, good. If you don't reach the goal, then it's a whole lot of problems. And this was exactly the problem. So people say it's like, okay, I'm missing, you know, maybe like a little bit of percentage points to actual goals. Well, I'm just gonna say that we completed everything, and then we're gonna next time we receive money from the state, the new contract from the state, and then we're gonna start doing it, and we're gonna catch up. For example, as on the ground, and this was all the way through. So that's why for me it's like, yeah, I mean that's obvious. So it's very very interesting that it's now being discussed. I was very fascinated with the whole realization by the Western community of the concept of Franyo. Dennis Jesperson, I think Ramzan Kadyrov is on opioids, probably opium. I have been addict myself for 30 years. I mean, it's completely possible, yes. Dr. Canada. Hey, Canada done anything for Ukraine? Canada done a lot for Ukraine. Canada has been doing a lot, my friend. So you should definitely not be ashamed for Canada. Yes. I finally made a stream. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. View of the fifth column. I have no idea who View of fifth column is, so I don't know what to say about him. Maybe I will check him out, and if he is good, I will add him to the channel list. I will mark a note for myself that I need to add how it was View of the fifth column. I will check it out. So I cannot say for now if it's good or bad. Yes, Canada has been sending quite a lot. Canada has been sending winter gear. Canada has been sending rations. Canada has been sending a lot of really good stuff. So absolutely, absolutely. Who painted Nurse Shin? Who painted the art you're using for the thumbnails? I want it on my wall. Slava Ukraini. That's very good that you asked because it was me. I did it. Well, AI did it, but this is a long discussion about whether the AI generated art can be counted as like who is the author? Is it the AI or is it the person? Because AI technically is just a tool. Like think about like a brush or like computer brush or whatnot. It's just the artist was the person that puts his imagination, in this case through the word requests, into the algorithm, and then algorithm returns the vision, and then you select which vision works for you and then refine it. So technically I will be the artist, and I have actually on my Patreon, I from time to time, like I'm posting posts about what art has been there, and yes, so including today's art is already posted on Patreon. So join Patreon, support Ukraine. Wow, what a shameless plug. I'm like seriously, I'm becoming like it's been almost half a year now that I'm doing YouTube, and I'm already shameless plugging and like not even bothering. Terrible, terrible person. Disappointing myself every day now. Kellen Dunn, I think the 150 kilometers mid-range missile systems HIMARS is a big game changer for Ukraine. Then tanks. Do you agree? There are nuances, Kellen. So the problem with these systems is, yes, they fly to 150 kilometers. They fly on GPS. However, they are slower than normal GMLRS missiles. They're not supersonic. They essentially are gliding. So they get into the air from the booster from the missile, and then it's basically a bomb with wings. So, and this bomb with wings is just gliding towards its target. So the speed is not that fast. That means that it might be prone to being captured, or at least not captured, but intercepted. There we go, the word. So it can be intercepted. So also the warhead itself, the damaging power, so it's like the explosives in it is quite a bit less than a normal GMLRS missile. So it also has less of exploding potential. But I am pretty sure that it's still enough. I am pretty sure that it will still turn the Russian logistics into nightmare. So yes, I agree it's a big deal. The problem is when they're going to get supplied, what quantity, and if they're going to be easily or not easily intercepted by the Russians. That's the only thing I'm kind of worried about. Yeah, we're going to talk about CV90s and everything and archers. Let's stick to it. Bew is pronounced bow. Okay, bow. Sorry. I mean, me and mispronunciation were like living together. Lewis Clark, have you ever discussed Alexei Arestovich? Used to follow his daily updates, but it seems a lot of Ukrainians, including Dennis, dislike him. I mean, I don't like Arestovich as well. I think the best was the quote. Actually, it's like a second-hand quote. I was looking at the how do you say, the video from Vlad Vexler, which you actually should watch. Vlad Vexler is really nice if you want to understand how Russian person thinks. Vlad Wexler is excellent for that. And Vlad Wexler has said that there was someone he read, and I cannot remember who it was, and said that we need more people like Alexei Arestovich in Ukraine that are not Alexei Arestovich. Because Alexei Arestovich is a bullshitter. Alexei Arestovich knows stuff about some of the warfare. He made a couple of predictions that came through. Fair enough. However, he's been multiple times caught on being inconsistent. He's also been multiple times caught on essentially making predictions that didn't came true. And then he's like, well, that's just happens. So what I'm saying is he's really good at talking. He's really good at discussing and bullshitting his way through and saying, yes, 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 because he's very knowledgeable about the warfare. This is something I can give him. But there are plenty of other military experts that can challenge a lot of the things that he's saying. Not me, though. I'm not a military expert. Everyone knows that, I hope. I am not a military expert. I don't know a lot about militaries. I don't know how warfare is done correctly. What I'm doing basically on this channel is, over the last year, I've been studying the military situation with other military experts, and I've been vetoing every single of those military experts of what they're saying. Does this make sense? Is this subject to reality? And I'm basically have been refining sources. Since then, I have my list of sources that are vetoed good, and that's how I'm getting you the updates on the situation with some kind of clarity. But Alexei Arestovich, he also a lot of time abuses his knowledgeability as an expert. So he would start, for example, talking about like a war stuff of the Russians, and then turn this by wording into speaking about Macedon. Oh my God, I cannot pronounce. Like essentially the dismissing women because it's like that's his thing. So Alexei Arestovich and his thoughts and his philosophy is pretty shit. Like it's complete garbage. However, he is somewhat of a war expert, and people do credit him with a lot of ability to essentially talk to people and make them calmer. That's how he got popular. That's how he got big. It's good. In my book, when I check the facts, he's not a bad military expert, but when he starts making his opinions, starts voicing his opinions, he's becoming kind of an asshole, to be honest, very, very fast. That's what I think about Alexei Arestovich. So we need more people like Alexei Arestovich, but not Alexei Arestovich. Okay, Rob, looking at the continuous churn of troops and arms in Belarus, Belarus have already committed acts of war against Ukraine. Is there reticence to shell into Belarus changing? Reluctance to shell, maybe like reticence. I'm thinking that you made reluctance. If reluctance to shell Belarus changing, no. Ukraine has clearly stated that they will not attack the territory of Belarus. Yeah, Canada has sent 200 vehicles. That's true. Robin Mellon, what do you think about Sweden's new military packages? Keep up the good work. I think we're going to talk about it just a little bit later. Very, very close already. And let me just... No shame, yes. Thank you so much, KMJ. Succomimus, definitely. Captain Hello, 19 Caesar howitzer from Denmark is coming. Yes, indeed, my friend, they are. I wonder why Super Chat didn't highlight it for me. That's interesting. Vlad is lovely, that's true. Kellendan, UA must have the ability to hit Russian airfield bases in Russia in order to stop ballistic missiles. Any insights into UA's own long-range drone development? 2 days ago, Ukroboronprom has said that they have tested their new drones that are able to fly over up to 1,000 kilometers. So more drones are coming for Ukraine. More different drones, including the state producer, such as Ukroboronprom. VB Union is a great military analysis. I don't know. People have been saying that it's basically the same as History Legends. I haven't seen Weave Union, to be honest. Name is kind of super shady, but I don't know. Robert Silverberg. Technically, my mother is Bosnian. She's not Bosnian. She's not. She's a Croatian, just like I'm Croatian, living in Germany. Just because you were born somewhere doesn't mean you are. Not sure what you mean. Man John Sukomimus. Absolutely, he's an amazing guy. Yeah, that I read already. Do you think Norway and Scandinavia do enough for Ukraine? Oh yeah. I'm not sure about Norway, but Sweden, Denmark have been on the warpath. Norway, we're gonna discuss it. We're gonna talk about this. Any word on how Crimea fighting is going on? Heard rumors Russians pulled out their HQ elements. They've pulled out their HQ elements a while ago. So it's I know what you're talking about. You saw the reporting from Ukraine video. I saw that too. But they pulled their headquarters a while ago. It's kind of like been already like over a month, I think. Darius, how do you see the end of this war? They're very persistent, and I don't believe they just gonna accept a loss. Well, the good part is we don't need them to do anything. I mean, they might not accept whatever they want, but that's the point of the war. Like the idea of the war is forcing your will on top of your opposition. That's the definition of war, by the means of force. So it's not about acceptance. Like acceptance is Kissinger or someone else, like that we should probably negotiate with Russia. That's acceptance. And there is no acceptance in this war, Darius, so I'm not completely sure what you mean. Also, I don't believe a civil war inside Russia. Oh yeah, I don't believe in civil war inside Russia for sure. Yeah, that's a far fetch. That's a little bit too much to expect from people that cannot take responsibility. So no. It's time for citizens of NATO to stop buying German cars if Germany doesn't make positive commitment to tanks tomorrow. I have to say about Germany. Okay, let's see. 5 minutes more we're reading, and then we're gonna go into Germany and arms. Okay, guys, let's do that. Hi, Georgie. Do you have any news on how the electricity network is running currently in Ukraine? It's people are right now reporting that to fully restore currently damaged energy network, it will take until summer next year. Or sorry, this year already. Oh my God, I'm still in 2022. So we have heard that overall, with the supplies from the West, Ukraine will be able to get through the winter. And from that moment, it's going to be easier because a lot of heating elements will not need to be powered. So the hardest part is happening essentially right now. So, and right now, with the points of indestructibility where just people come to heat up, to charge their phones, Ukraine is getting through. Dr. Canada, when did this war start? In 2014. When Russia was setting up on December 10th or on February 23rd. What everyone says it started on, perhaps it was when Crimea was annexed illegally. Yes, 2014. The war started 2014 when Russia started to intervene actively with hybrid elements of actual force. I'm not counting like hybrid elements like, bribes to the government officials. Like we know that Yanukovych was Russia's stooge, but that's obviously also part of the hybrid warfare. But in my book, essentially, when hybrid warfare is some people coming in with weapons, that's the start of the war. Sorry, I was being sarcastic about Weeb. Sure. Amy Ra, will you say something about Poland today? Go Poland. Oh my God, can I say anything in Polish? Do I know any words? Not sure. I'll try to remember something in Polish. But Poland is doing really great to support Ukraine. Cheesy1969. How do you feel about New World Econ? New World Econ, is that a channel or what is it? John Potier, I have a little cream cake with your coffee. Thanks. Thanks. Fancy to discuss Leopard over Abrams? I'm not a technical guy, Taz. All my knowledge of Leopard versus Abrams comes from analysts discussing. But if you ask me, like, well, can you talk details? No, I'm not a war expert. I'm not a war, how do you say, war technology expert. So I will not be able to know what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, Norway did. Yeah, that's very good, Shells. That is very, very good catch. Yes, Norway, one of the first countries that sent M109s to Ukraine. So yes, Norway definitely was participating. Good point. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, all of the Nordics have been pretty much, very much sticking. I'm not even talking about Finland. Whoa, ooh, Finland. Yes, Sanna Marin. Oh my God. Okay, we are actually already 935 people watching, which is super nice. I hope more people will come. So thank you so much for liking and sharing. It's very helps spreading this actual discussions about the reality in Ukraine. Kalendan, I think there is a small window of opportunity this spring and summer for Ukraine to decisively kick out Russians. Do you agree? I mean, that's what I'm hearing, but it's going to depend, as far as I understand, on whether or not Ukraine will receive the promised right now equipment essentially by the end of April. People have been saying that the ground should be solidifying by the end of April. So that's what we're aiming at. Mark Raven, thanks for 20 pounds for the coffee or beer fund. Thanks. I appreciate it. I think there is a small win. Okay, it was, Griffith's Delirium. Hey, always wanted to suggest you to try Jadan Isabaki. However, it's a punk rock band and have many really good tracks like Kraina. Jdan is just so good. Okay, I will check it out. Thanks. I will put a note for myself to check them out. Thanks. Do you think the transition of the Russian economy to militarized will eclipse Western support eventually and slowly grind down Ukraine with mid monster Greg 11? No, 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 no. We need to understand that whatever Russia is producing and will be producing, I think what's said about the Russian military is the best. What was said by Perun, that Russian military is large and modern, but the large part is not modern and the modern part is not large. And the same we can expect with their productions. They will find some kind of gray schemes to go around sanctions, to get some kind of a complex equipment to have their tanks, but it's going to be a limited amount. Like tanks, like as an example, maybe take all other equipment as well. So there's going to be a limited number of high-end produce that is going to be released for Russia, that they will be able to do through the gray schemes. Other parts is going to be just a little bit modernized, all the Soviet stocks. So we're going to see T-62s, T-55s, or what T-54s. I don't know. Basically, the older the older tanks that they're going to be rolling out, or any other older equipment that they will be rolling out from the Soviet storages. We need to understand that whatever Russia is having right now, it's not Russia that is fighting right now. Right now, it is fighting the Soviet Union. The stocks are from Soviet Union. They're not from Russia. It's not Russia that produced all of these military assets. It's the Soviet Union. So the problem with all the stocks is that they end. And the Russian equipment is times and times worse than any kind of NATO equipment. So they can transition to produce maybe en masse something very simple, but they cannot produce en masse something that is modern and complex. And we see that they already, within just 1 year, they devolved to human wave for World War I tactics. So no, it's impossible. Like, if you think that Russia suddenly starts producing aircraft carriers or something, no, they won't. BGN, Subhero, 10 Bulgarian Leva. I remember it. Leva. 10 Bulgarian Leva. What to do? My super chat now, as I am afraid might have to drop off. Will surely watch the replay, however. Slava Ukraine. Thank you so much, my friend. Have a great. If you're from Bulgaria, that's the evening off, and please drop by in the comments to the video on the recording. Humble Seeker, hey from California, keep up the good work. Thanks for $10. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see if I can find any last questions that is worth answering, and then we're gonna okay. So guys, all of the rest questions, let's cover them just a little bit later, so keep them in mind. I know the enforcer. I don't know about the enforcer. We'll see if we can get in touch. If we can, that's not really a big deal. But whatever. So let's start with Germany. I need to start with a preamble, guys. So because I got myself in really deep waters with my comments, and we see that a lot of Germans are really passionate about this and so on. So first things first. Germany is doing a lot for Ukraine. So all of the criticism about Germany not doing enough or Germany not providing enough is, to be honest, is a little bit invalid. Germany has been doing massive help to Ukraine, especially when we're talking about humanitarian or non-military support. Germany has been very, very helpful in it. The massive support for the refugees, especially in Germany from Ukraine, has been great. Like the reports of people that are in Germany overall tend to be on the positive side. The problem is that when it comes to the military aspect of the Germans and the German state, German Chancellor and SPD party has been reluctant to help Ukraine. From the start of this war, we have had, every time there was essentially another package or another kind of new assets that are requested by Ukraine, and other countries would already kind of be okay supplying them, it was always about Germany being convinced that these things need to be sent. So the criticism I have to Herr Scholz and the government is that they have been dragging their feet. They have been dragging their feet for so long that there is already, at some point this gotta end. For a longer time, the argument was, but Georgie, Germany is so dependent on the Russian energy resources that they cannot just, turn off the gas. They will need like a couple of years and so on. And I want you to kind of reflect on this past year where, remember when it started and the Germans said like, okay, we'll be able to essentially switch off Russian energy into Germany maybe in like 5 years. And then slowly kind of, oh no, we actually can do it within one. And now by the end of this year, Russian energy is not in Germany as well. So the question is, was it just like a thing? Like, why didn't you do this right away? And that's been the criticism. So props for achieving that. The problem is, now Germany is supposedly independent from the Russian assets, Russian energy especially. So why are we still having these discussions? Why are we still considering that Russia apparently, is it having some kind of leverage or whatnot? And people said to me, yes, but the other countries did as well. Fair enough. But what we've seen is the positive dynamics. We've seen how Emmanuel Macron, for example, changed his stance. France, despite looking for some kind of negotiations in words with Russia, fully started supporting Ukraine, sending a lot of military assets to Ukraine. We saw how a lot of the voices otherwise have been saying that, yes, we should support Ukraine. And then we get into this situation, or the ridiculous situation with the tanks. When we Germans, for the longest time, have been delaying the deliveries. This was pretty much said by Joseph Biden in the press conference when Zelensky was visiting, that there are certain allies in Europe that are essentially saying that the NATO will fall apart if Germany will, if US will start delivering extensive military assets to Ukraine. And we don't really need to guess much who was the specific allies. So now Germany has been for the longer time saying that until Western style tanks are being sent, because the tanks have been sent before. Poland sent like almost 300 tanks to Ukraine. Czechia, Slovakia, Slovenia, I believe, also sent the Soviet style tanks to Ukraine. So the tanks overall as a concept have been sent to Ukraine in quantities. What wasn't sent essentially is a German style tanks. Oh, sorry, not German, but the Western style tanks. And now we see that UK is saying, okay, we're going to be the front runner. The France was the first one. They were saying that these supposedly light tanks, we say it for the trigger word. And now UK is sending 12 of the Challenger tanks, which are massive tanks, one of the top tanks in the world. To which, instead of saying is like, oh, look, there's a country that finally supplies Ukraine with tanks, Germany says like, no, you. Until US does it, we don't do it. And not only we don't do it, they're not only saying that it's not us country, we don't want to take responsibility, but what's going to happen is we are not going to even allow other countries to do that. And at this point, sorry guys, but I'm drawing a line. Because at this point, this is turning into malicious perspective. For a longer time, we have been in this game of cat and mouse. Every time, with every system, it's been playing game cat and mouse. Like the most ridiculous before that was, if you remember, like there's a Ukrainian air defense missile that has fallen on the Polish soil. And then Germany said, oh, Poland, we're going to send you Patriot missiles. And Polish is like, why don't you send it to Ukraine? And Germany is like, well, no, sorry, we cannot do. It's actually US needs to decide whether they can allow. And then US is like, well, you can just send it. And then Germans like, So, sorry, not Germans. Important, not Germans. Olaf Scholz and his SPD party. Very, very important. Let's keep this, like, we need to keep ourselves that it's always the SPD party. So, I really appreciate what Germany is doing. I care so much. The problem is that it's not enough. Until Ukrainians stop dying in Ukraine, for me, it is not enough. So that's why I'm going to criticize. And why am I criticizing Olaf Scholz and German government, for example? Because it works. We've seen this time and time again. Democracy responds to demand. So when democratic leaders are being criticized and demanded to do something, if the voice of that is loud enough, that's when they start acting. If we just allow people do whatever they want, they will try to escape any kind of responsibility. But this is the type of responsibility that Germany is going overboard. Maybe not sending their own tanks. Fine. People saying it's like, well, but there's like only so few Leopards, which is a BS excuse. But not allowing other countries to send tanks to that they want to send to Ukraine, I'm sorry, that is just ridiculous, because weapons sent to Ukraine save lives. They save lives of innocent women and children that never asked for this war. And they are needed there. So for me, when Germany essentially says for a longer times that we will not send our tanks until Western tanks are being sent, and then the Western tanks are sent, and Germany says, sorry, we will not send until the specific Western tanks are sent. That is a little bit too silly. That is a childish game, and I'm sorry, but we are not in kindergarten here. And every kind of this kindergarten attitude that we're indulging in is costing people's lives. And that is unacceptable for me. So this was my rant, and I hope I made it clear. The takeaway I want you guys to have is that Germans have done a lot. Germans have been doing massively to support Ukraine. Massively. It's hard to express. It's been a lot. What we need to understand is that a lot of the things that Germany has been forced to do in military sense, the SPD, has been done despite SPD and not because of them. It's always about the game of cat and mouse trying to overcome any resistance Scholz and the SPD party has been posing. And by this point, it's becoming malicious. And this is where I draw the line. So will I be ridiculing? Maybe not openly, but I definitely would like there to get their shit together. All right. So what do you guys think? What's your opinion on Germany? Let's talk about this one. And right now I'm going to be dropping non-related questions. Heinze, Green Party is part of the government of Germany and wants to send tanks. Yes, actually the Green Party from the start, they always expressed, I don't agree with Green Party on the fact that a nuclear power plant should be closed down. That's a little bit silly. You're a Green Party, but you want to close nuclear power plants. Well, it's like, what? Huh? How does this work? So for me, like those two things kind of don't come together. I don't understand how closing nuclear power plants is the same as being green, because like nuclear power is literally like a green power. But with regards to Green Party, yes, they have been for a longer time saying that it's morals before profits, and this has been a bane of Merkel's government. For some people, really thought that I like Merkel. No, I don't. Merkel has been on a spree of denying what every analysts have been explaining to her, that she's putting Germany in a vulnerable position. And I have no respect in a sense of relationship with Russia that she decided to build. So, Kellen Dunn, I don't think Germany has done enough. From approving Nord Stream 2 after Putin stole Crimea to 5,000 helmets pre-war. Yeah, I mean, like, the optics of Germany are terrible. Like, I think one of the big things was Germany is discussed more than like maybe some other countries and so on, is because Germany has taken every opportunity to put themselves into bad optics. I think every kind of silly, weird stories like 5,000 helmets and so on that has been about Germany, it's been Germany putting themselves in this place of being like silly and unreasonable. And I mean German government, importantly. Mika Rasaka. Thing with German gear is that no one can send those anywhere until Germany says, okay, same goes for US. Yes. Yes, that's called the end user license. Cole Zibrovsky, do you think Macron switched his position on Ukraine? Yes, we see it happening live. We saw him over the last 10 months, how he evolved, like, you know, how he was really looking to find any kind of peaceful solution. His last comments essentially reached out to Putin saying that we want to give Putin security guarantees. It came from a good place, because that was not a malicious intent, saying is like, yes, you know, we need to just, you know, just give Russia guarantees and then they can also have the land of Ukraine. No. It was in a sense of like, if Russia gets out of Ukraine, then maybe we can start giving them some kind of guarantees if they promise to, you know, start sending out criminals and so on. It came from a good place, but it just came out really wrong. And it was almost the last thing that we saw of Macron. Since then, he basically, in all of his speeches and in all of his actions, he's been like, support Ukraine. That's it. So... Kellen Dunn, do you think Poland will send Leopard 2 without German approval? The Polish Prime Minister said so. What I'm afraid is that why Poland might do it alone, the whole point is to send the Leopards 2 as a coalition, because not one single country has enough of those Leopards to send them alone. What we need is essentially a group effort here. Because Europe we've been sitting on our asses and chilling and smacking on that peace benefits, peace dividends after the Second World War, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, for way too much. Our military is way too small, and we are not able to protect ourselves, and we're not able to be exported. And let me tell you about another thing that pisses me off. One of the major things that German government states as an argument is saying that we cannot send weapons that are right now in the German military because otherwise we're exposing a weakness in the German military. The only thing that we can send to you is what we have above what is needed for our units. Well, my question to that is, who is exactly is going to attack you? What, some kind of second Russia? Like, Russia is already being ground down in Ukraine. So who exactly is threatening you, Germany, right now? Who do you need the tanks, the APCs for? To defend from what? Netherlands? Switzerland? France? Who? Who will attack a deeply seated NATO country that is like the key ally? Who is attacking you? Why cannot you expose a bit of your defense, like many countries, for example, like Baltics or Poland has been doing, and then slowly build it up by boosting your production? Why is that a problem? And that's an important attitude. The fact that with German government, it's been a search for workarounds rather than search for solutions, that is kind of the big telling part about me criticizing Mr. Scholz. Christian Buzio. Germany acts as a children garden, kindergarten, I guess, because there is no adults to teach them. They know no one to dare to push to avoid being pushed either. We sent tomorrow to help Ukraine was needed yesterday. Yes, thanks for 20 euros, and you're absolutely right. The problem is, like, it's a childish attitude, and we're dealing here with human lives. And people says like, oh, Georgie, you're gonna alienate like a lot of German people that really like SPD on your channel, that would be okay supporting you. My point is not to make friends here. As much as I love you guys and so on, I'm not here to preserve your feelings over any specific group. If I see someone doing shit, I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it for what it is. I'm not here to tell you nice words of encouragement and saying, don't worry, you're doing all right, and so on. No, what I'm saying is your actions have consequences. The actions of your politicians that you like so much have consequences. And if people are in denial, I'm going to tell it about it. So I love you. I want you to listen to me. You are free to disagree with me. That is the power of democracy. I love democracy. I love that there is so many people that disagree with me. We had a couple of really great conversations about in these German posts with people that are saying, like, Georgie, I just think you're wrong. The problem is that a lot of this comes as like, oh, but I just really trust my SPD politicians. Because you're a no-name YouTuber, and those are our local politicians that have been, has a history of being very respectful to our local societies or something. Like, well, that's good. That's good that they have a history with you and you trust them so much. But what they're doing right now is by their inaction, they're killing Ukrainians. And that is not something acceptable for me in this context. All right. William S., do you think Russia makes a huge effort to undermine German politics? Oh, yes. I mean, whoa. I can guide you to the stream that Jake Bro had with Paul Massaro. And Paul Massaro is extremely knowledgeable about the European politicians. He's been in this essentially pit for a while, and he tells how it is about the politics in Europe, in all Europe. Like, it's not just Germany where Russia has a lot of money flowing and like essentially buying them clout. It's not just Germany. There's also Austria. Well, Serbia is kind of special case. Serbia, I mean, like other countries, there are like pro-Russian politicians in like France, in Slovakia, I believe Czechia. There are people. So Russia has plenty of influence, plenty of influence. So and this is we need to get clean in Europe. We have been complacent and allow authoritarian regimes that want to destroy us to have its way. We need to stop that. And I still don't see that we're starting to clean up ourselves thoroughly enough. I'm sorry I'm late. Please start over. Yeah, I mean, don't forget Switzerland. I mean, Switzerland, they are going into the we are neutral, but it's like I see that people are being killed and I'm neutral to that. It's very hard to respond to that. You know, it's like it's kind of malicious. But yeah, and I mean, it's the problem of the safe havens. It's a problem of like you can go against Switzerland, Cyprus. You know, it's like how many of Russian oligarch companies, how many dirty Russian money goes through Cyprus, how many dirty money went through UK. Europe is not this nice, shiny, tidy place. We have a lot of dirt from Russia here. Political parties, dirty money, corruption, oligarchs. It's everything is here. It's in Europe. But we think we're this house on the hill, like with a shining beacon of hope, where we're all of these nicely tidy, and then we can, from our high seat, we're like, oh, fucking dirty Ukraine. You have too much corruption. You will not join EU. While also counting all of the oil money that we received from the Putin oligarchs. This is Europe. We need to look in the mirror for that. And I was hoping that with this war, we're going to start looking more in the mirror. And we did start, but it's not enough. We need to call things for what they are. We are deluding ourselves if we think that we need not to get clean. We must get cleaner. This is our survival is dependent on it. Raven 7, thanks. Yeah. Call spade a spade, yeah. John Potier, many of these attitudes were visible and during World War II, dithering self-interest, appeasement, lest we forget, has been forgotten. I mean, exactly. You know, it's like I come from Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe had it rough during the Second World War. There is what probably not this family that was not scarred by someone being wounded or killed in each and every family. Same for me. Many of people in my family have been dead. Like my grandma lost a lot of her siblings. She, as a super young girl, had to essentially work her ass off on the train lines. So she was a young girl. She was like, I don't know, like 7, 8 years old. And as a 8 years old girl during the Second World War, uh, yes, I'm counting the years. Yes, exactly. So around that time, she basically, well, firstly, like her house burned down and was burned down. And her documents were also lost, and she actually didn't know until the end of her life, when was her birthday. But during the Second World War, she was doing these, how do you say, switching train lines in between. And she was doing also the cold and so on. This was what he did during the Second World War. And she always grew up with just saying one thing. It's like, anything but never again. Never again the war. And that's why it pisses me so much that of a personal complacency and greediness, we became so obsessed with the money and filling the pockets of dictators. And it was so obvious for me. But I always thought as like, okay, it doesn't matter. I'm a small man. I live my own life. I doesn't give a, I don't give a shit. Like who cares what I do, what I think, what not. But now it's like, yeah, now I understand that it matters. Ukraine is surviving for the most part because of the individuals, because people take actions. And this was my action to take after this war started, to start cleaning my own act, to start actually caring about politics, to start caring what a person in Germany is saying, because that is influencing my family, my friends' lives, other people's that are mattering. And that is something that essentially we found out the hard way. Yeah, never again usually is until next time, precisely. Exactly. Healthcare. We all hear what Germany should provide, but does anyone actually what is provided by Germany at the moment? Germany is providing a lot. Germany is providing a lot. There's like anti-air systems. There is, I mean, Gepards with little to no ammo. Okay, no, there are some ammo. Mostly anti-air systems. There are some APCs. Martyrs have been promised, but we'll see. So Germany has been doing a lot. Like it's unfair to say that Germany has not been doing a lot. And I've been saying this as much. But every step we're having this discussion, and just enough. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like this war, like just the power of crowdsourcing. It's the first, I think, crowdsourced war that is in the human life. We're literally crowdsourcing ammunition for our troops. Yeah, Panzerhaubitz 2000 as well. Yes, yes, exactly. So Germany is providing quite a lot. Russia has announced enlarging of their army. Good for them. I am pretty sure that will go well and they will get a professional and highly motivated and highly trained military that will roll out on, for all of them, 1.5 million people, will roll out on new tens of thousands of modern T-90 M tanks that are just going to be flowing out of the factories. And it's definitely not going to be people and Ivans in half with rifles from the First and Second World War writing the T-62s with no upgrades against the modernized Leopard 2 tanks. Jujulayach, I hope I pronounced it wrong. Do you think the potential of Ukraine to be an economic powerhouse for Europe might be somewhat of a threat to Germans? Sorry, that is a little bit silly question. That is a question that goes nowhere. It's like, oh, but maybe Ukraine is a threat to Germany's economics, and that's why the Scholz is like, dude, come on. Christian Buzio. Germany forgot that all their wealthiness is due to war debt of the World War II that was cancelled. They have the moral due to stop the genocide in UA. Again, Germany and Germans are doing a lot. We are talking about Scholz government. Please stop putting them together. Don't project on the whole German people. Germans have been doing a lot. Scholz, Scholz, Scholz. Always think Scholz, 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 SPD. This is not to say about Germans. We should not extrapolate this to the whole Germany. Ashdeen, to quote Albert Einstein, the world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch and do nothing. Yeah, I mean, that's good. John Paul, it's like saying we need shoes and send gloves. Gloves are great, but we also need the shoes. Yeah. Uh, did you see Igor's rant that Russia needs 3-5 new trained armor divisions in 3 quarters? They will be defeated. What? I don't understand the question. Sorry, Raymond. A Sparky project, but no, I haven't seen it. Apparently, Russia rolled out a load of T-55s that's probably got from the museums. Russia has a lot of T-55s in storage. Is this World War III? No, it's the prevention of World War III. Ukraine is literally preventing World War III. Because let me ask you this. So imagine Russia wins Ukraine. So we in the West stop sending weapons to Ukraine. Russia rolls over Ukraine. Now Russia has mobilized 1.5 million army that is on the NATO borders, and it also has a full scale already on production for the military equipment. Where do you think they're going in a year? I mean, probably not, but just let's say that's like it's not a very nice thing to have. Mika, Russia has announced today that they're forming new army corps near Finland's border. Well, it might. I mean, we need to understand that announcing is they can do any announcement what they want. The problem is not what they are announcing, right? This announcement is basically mobilization because this is how they are treating mobilization. They've learned from their past. They said that well, mobilization is not really working that great. How do we do it without mobilization? Let's announce that we're expanding our army because that's not a mobilization, right? We're just expanding our army and calling in people to join the army. Well, okay. So, I mean, the announcement can go there for sure. But the problem is like, well, how do you then set this up? I mean, especially Putin's, like I already explained in my last video, they're saying that Putin has the Soviet mindset. He thinks that everything is top down. So he says like, okay, I'm a Soviet commander. I say I want 10 tanks. And then everyone says, okay, we're going to get you 10 tanks. And then it's like, okay, what do we do? How do we get 10 tanks? It's impossible. Our facility can produce like one a year. How do we produce 10 tanks now? I don't know. Like produce four and say that we produce 10. Something like this. And then it's like, okay, I have on paper 10 tanks. So now 10 tanks are sent to Ukraine. Check, check. So this unit now has 10 tanks. And this then unit is like, you have received 10 tanks. Okay. And then he looks, wait, but it's only four. No, no, but you received 10 tanks. So there you go. Fight on. Any crazy theories you heard about gas pipe explosions? I mean, people come up with crazy theories at all. There might be collaborators in Lithuania. We need to understand that collaborators exist inside of Europe. So many things can happen, but it might be an accident as well. ZZ 1957. I can't help remember how the world said what happened with Hitler would never happen again. Right. I watched Zelensky beg for stuff, and only now they're starting to provide stuff. I mean, yeah, somewhat fair, but yeah. Can you explain? Uh, can you explain the situation with the POWs on both sides? Can you explain the situation with the prisoners of wars on both sides? Yes, prisoners of wars on Ukrainian side are being monitored by the on the Ukrainian side are being monitored by the neutral observers. Prisoners on the Russian side are being denied to do anything. In Yelenovka, they've got killed for no reason, after which the Red Cross was denied to assess the destruction, and then United Nations came out with a strong message saying we're gonna investigate what killed the Ukrainian the Russians the Ukrainian prisoners of war in this Russian camp. And then Russia said we're not gonna let you in, and then UN is like, well, if you're not letting us in, then we're disbanding the commission. There we go. We showed that Russia. So basically, Ukraine is keeping their prisoners of war like they should. Russia don't know. No one knows. I mean, we saw Ukrainian troops, captured troops being killed, tortured, their genitals being mutilated. All things have happened. So, and there is no one stopping them. And then people says, well, we should negotiate with these people. Sounds good. Russian culture of Ranyo. Yeah, I told you about it. Okay, so we talked about Germany. Really good. Big important topic. I hope I finally cleared it out. So just to sum it up, Germans, good. Olaf Scholz, not so good. Get their shit together. Do you know how many Ukrainian POWs are in Russian captivity? I've heard numbers up to 15,000, but precise numbers I don't know. My heart hurts for each soul. Russians are war criminals. Yeah, I mean, they are. Well, what do you mean Russians are war criminals? We should negotiate with them and should talk with them. What? War criminals? War criminals is fine. Let's just let them in, have free French citizenship, and then say, well, now you're free to live in Europe. Yeah, that's fine. All right. So deliveries. Guys, I thought we are going to talk about this after the 20th. After the 20th, because 20th is Ramstein. 20th is literally where we're supposed to have the big discussion about what to help Ukraine with. And Ramstein meetings, most of the time, are followed by non-disclosed agreements of what's going to be supplied to Ukraine. And a small sliver of the Ramstein meeting decisions are usually is delivered to Ukraine. However, we see a lot of interesting drama. We see almost like countries competing right now for the place under the sun, under the spotlight, for who is helping Ukraine more, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I love this. I think this is what was needed from day one. And I was actually sad that it was not happening. But we have been having announcements, like, yeah, the Ramstein meeting is tomorrow, exactly. But we have been hearing announcements of country after country after country after country delivering exactly what Ukraine is asking for. We have heard, like Denmark and other places, like Denmark, Sweden, the delivery of Caesar howitzers, Denmark, 19 pieces, Sweden, 12 pieces of Archer systems, one of the most modern howitzers and the most unique ones, actually, because they are completely automated. And yes, so that is really boggling my mind. What happened? Because the only country that is like literally not saying anything is Germany by this point, but we're not going to talk anymore about Germany. But Poland, I think Italy also, I believe so. Tell me, you can list me the countries in chat that you know that delivered something. We're going to talk about whatever. And this is great. Ukraine is getting the equipment they've been asking for. And this is important because media has made this very stupid distinction that doesn't really exist in real life warfare. Any military expert would tell you it's some kind of media differentiation between the defensive weapons and the attacking weapons. Because both of those are kind of not true, because you can use tanks also for defense, and you can use APCs also to get your troops for a more efficient defense, like an infantry fighting vehicles. So it's not that they're only for defense. And in that sense, it was always bothering me. It's like, if you're already sending some kind of like artillery, what's the problem with infantry fighting vehicles and tanks? And finally, we've gotten to this point. I've explained to you already that this is the last piece of the puzzle. But right now, it's a floodgates are opened. And I'm hoping that after tomorrow, we're going to hear a more coherent perspective what we're going to see. But by this point, we see that about a third of APCs that General Zaluzhny has requested are pretty much on the line. We see that it's both the CV90s, I believe, from Sweden. I think they were that. It's 50 Bradleys, plus there is also speculation there's going to be 100 Strikers. And I know people sometimes about Strikers, people feel very, very mixed. But we need to understand that whatever Western is provided is a heads and above better than whatever Russian Ukraine is having. So what we're having is that Ukraine is being prepared to strike this spring. And I think this is good. Yeah, CV90s are very good. People, I've been reading the analysts and saying that CV90s are very good. I will try to do after tomorrow like a full list, and I will make a separate post, and we're going to be trying to calculate in total what did Ukraine get. But my only question is, why are the planes still not coming? But I know this is already a wishful thinking. But yeah, US, UK, Australia. Oh, there we go. Quentin Black. US, UK, Australia. Austria or Australia? So Austria or Australia, or maybe both. France, Poland, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, Sweden, Spain, Italy, Denmark, Netherlands. In fact, 70 countries. Is this for because most of these countries that you mentioned, I think they mentioned that they will deliver something. There are 6,000 Bradleys. Yes, but the argument to that is that Ukraine needs time to process them. Because think about this way. So Ukraine is getting 150 new APCs. Already we know that. So what is the crew on APC like? Not APC, infantry fighting vehicle. The crew of infantry fighting vehicle is like 3 to 4 people. Fair enough. So that already is like over 400 people that needs to be sent to there. Now every of these machines probably need like additional crew. So let's say additional 400 people also needs to be trained. Then we also need to have mechanics on these crews and so on. So that's additional, let's say 100, like let's say 300 people roughly. So the point is that every single piece of the Western equipment that needs to be trained on, we are getting a lot of infrastructure around it. So there is a lot of people that's going to get that needs to be trained for this infrastructure to work. So while it is good that the tanks and APCs are coming in, we also need to be aware that it's not going to be a fast process, that it's all going to be dependent on the tempo of Ukraine being able to essentially comprehend and incorporate these vehicles into the proper military structure, because it's not just people on machines that are fighting, it's the proper army structures. And logistics, we've seen that logistics are pretty much deciding the war. We see how Ukraine is winning this war because Russian logistics cannot keep up. Ken Router, German bureaucracy won't let them make weapons. I'm not going to talk about Germany anymore. Konstantin MT, Austria is in Putin's pocket. Austria and New Zealand are sending humanitarian and military aid. Australia and New Zealand are sending humanitarian and military aid. Yeah, so Austria, yeah, I mean, Austria is one of the same countries that I said, like, that is having troubles with Russian money and Russian influenced. Do you believe the theory that the reason Biden admin is reluctant to give UA a long-range ATACMS is because they don't want Russia to do the same with the USA enemies in the future? That's the first time I hear about this, but it sounds silly, to be honest. Because at this point, it's completely clear that the only fear that US has is of uncontrolled collapse of the Russian Federation. I don't think there is any other fears. And I think that's been quite clear already now that the only thing that stands in the way between Ukraine rolling over Russia is just the confirmation that Russia will not chaotically fall apart into different warmongering states that will have access to nuclear weapons. Would you be willing to die for your country? Yes. Do you think NATO will ever give Western jets? Yes, I do believe that they will. Is it true that Putin is protected by 50,000 security force? That's the count of the what's it called, the FSO, Federal Security. I forgot what O stands for, but yes, it's about 50,000. They are well militarized. Uzi Buga, how about sending the Predator drones the USA is phasing out? Ukraine matters. I've read things about Predator drones that some of them essentially have the problems of Bayraktars, that there's just too easy of a targets for a complex air defense systems that Russia is having. So they need essentially first the capabilities to strike a lot of these air defenses before the older drones would be relevant to send. Tevin, takes 2 years to train F-16 pilots fresh, can be faster with pilots familiar with modern air combat training, but having Ukrainian pilots from MiGs and Su's F-16 is still a training endeavor. As far as I understand, the biggest problem is not the pilot, actually. The biggest problem is the actual engineering and technical stuff, Tevin. But thanks for $10. I've heard that like the training of technical staff for the F-16s and other planes is actually a lot longer and a lot more requiring. Do you think there is a backroom deal between China and US? US agrees to long-range ATACMS if China tells you Russia no nukes and no military aid to Russia? I mean, it's already happened. Like China already said Russia no nukes. So also ATACMS are not that good. ATACMS are not end-all be-all missiles. It's a tactical missile. It's just 300 kilometers. For a battlefield of Ukraine, that's like nothing. Well, I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not a decisive game changer. It's not like it's a completely like unbelievable technology that is like or forbidden from the past civilizations or whatnot. I don't know. Yes, from February to November, Ukraine got 32.38 billions in military aid. Probably, but I need to check the numbers. Do you think there is a chance that Turkey sent Leopards 2A4 MBTs if Germany provides Turkey with the MTU engine transmissions for their new Alta MBTs? It's possible. Turkey is, if there is a win for Turkey, it's possible. But we're expecting something from Germany. It's, sorry, from Scholz. Don't you think that with all the training with new weapon systems, this will be too late to defend Ukraine from the Russian invasion? What? What? Don't you wait? Sorry, guys. I mean, wait. Can I post this? Give me a second. Uh, uh, I mean, I'm not sure if you noticed, but Okay, so Russians are already in Ukraine. Let's be clear with that. So the Russian invasion already happened. Um, you mean like the secret Russian army that they've been gathering all over the place? You mean those 700,000 from Belarus? I don't think they exist. So when we're talking the Russian invasion, and you say like, well, what if Russia invades Ukraine? I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. Just gotta be honest with you. I have no idea. I have no idea what you mean. Ah, you mean the new spring invasion? Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So you mean the offensive? Yes, fair enough. Fair enough. No, no. We need to understand Ukraine has enough stuff to defend itself. Ukraine has stuff to defend itself. Russia doesn't have the resources to take Ukraine. Ukraine has more than enough stuff. Like the problem that we're discussing is only how Ukraine can win within reasonable amount of time, right? The question is not if Russia will take Ukraine. Like there is no victory for Russia. Russia cannot take Ukraine. There is no there is no force in Russia for them to win Ukraine. I think the only like someone, I think it was Bloomberg. They did the statistical analysis on like what's the possible outcomes. But and like the only way that they saw the Russian victory is that the West stops delivering weapons to Ukraine, and then Russia gets a military to I think up to 2 or 2.5 million people, and at that time, Russia is able to take Ukraine. That is the only way. And well, I mean, we saw the recent statements. So the West is continuing doing military. So Russia, yeah, well, Russia doesn't have the force. Right, guys, Russia cannot win this war on the big strategic level. Russia cannot win this war. 300,000 soldiers is nothing. Like 300,000 soldiers is literally nothing. The only thing that 300,000 soldiers is means that it's going to be additional half a year of war. That's it. Like if Russia continues these 300 to 300 to 300, it's just like, okay, Ukraine needs a half a year more to grind them down. We already know that Ukraine has grinded down quite a lot of them. So no, no. Also, Russia has by this point only 100,000 essentially in reserves. Beavers made it next to it's possible for Belarus invasion. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, it was just very funny about the like. No offense to you, dude. It was just very funny, like to read about when the Russia will invade Ukraine. Thanks for clarifying, though. I appreciate it. Did you see Joe Rogan podcast with Peter Zion? It was an amazing eye opener for me and underlined the urgency very well, Imo. I mean, I've seen clips of it, and I said like, okay, that makes sense. But then I saw like Vlad Vexler doing a little bit more about this Joe Rogan podcast, and I was like, okay, he's spouting nonsense. Like, so Peter Zion, I think he has his opinion, and I mean, good for him. But a lot of the opinions that he is expressing, I think he came to very wrong conclusion. It's like people the same argumenting that's like, oh, because Putin likes resources and Ukraine has resources, therefore Putin invaded Ukraine to capture the resources. So it's kind of the same level. It's silly. It doesn't follow for who Putin is and what there does, and it's the same for Peter Zion. He has some kind of his perspective of the world, which is, I mean, like he's entitled to his opinion. Why not? Like, so I don't have anything major against. But for me, from my perspective, knowing how Russians think, knowing how Putin's think, and so on, a lot of it is just a little bit too devolved from the reality on the ground. and the people. Wait, what? Marek. Oh my God, Marek has just donated 50 uh, memberships. To put it in perspective, I've just recently, essentially, like some like month ago, we went over total membership for the channel of 100 members. So Marek is just like casually strolling here and it's like, well, there is a 50 members. There we go. Wow, 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 wow. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much, Marek. Guys, please say thanks to Marek in chat. And I'm going to congratulate new members. Taz, Alison Marlowe, Rayvash, Thomas Hubner, level 70. Wow, level 70. You weren't a member. Maybe you're patron. Like I definitely saw you somewhere. But I know that you're a supporter. Ponas Niekas, thanks. Byron Hatcher, welcome. Daniel Hansen, welcome. Kipa, welcome. Tomasz Noshka, welcome. CC, Arve Skellinga, welcome. Mikano, Dispenser 1969, very nice name, by the way. Don Trump, welcome. Maciek Gwoźdź, welcome. Secular Sekai. Secular Sekai, I also saw you somewhere. I think I saw you before. The Unofficial Ken, welcome. Søren Jørgensen, welcome. Susan Grizzly HP2. Wait, Grizzly HP2. Did you also got... Okay. While I was reading, things just went overboard. Thomas Philip, Alukik, Gamer22, Sally St. Clair, Wombat Dundee. Wow, nice name. Konstantin Flux, welcome. Charlie Puchash, welcome. J. G, welcome. Jan Bear, John Huto, Non Gone. Oh my God, 50 people. Tina Bagheri, Alessandra Pisotti, Fatima Erdogan. Welcome, welcome, guys. Robertus Nikolai. Oh my God, it's still going. Jakub P. Kolzibowski, Aaron, Asian Lebrov, Jose Reyes, Dylan Voller, Y4S, Pabis, Frakis Maximus, Elysius Caldera, JC Boy, TM. Wow. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Grizzly was already a member. Sorry. It was because like your name was in green, and all of the people that got membership, they also got the color green, so you were in line. But sorry, my bad. Amazing. All right, let's get back to questions. Lord Fox Squad. What could be legally done about the collaborators in Europe who openly support Russian invasion in social media? I see a huge number of those people in YouTube comments on Twitter. We need to understand that making comments is not illegal. People have the right to their opinions. That's the nature of democracy. People can be wrong. What I think we need to say is when that opinion starts undermining our own democracy. So we don't have enough enforcement of, for example, people, like shaming Ukrainians or bringing some kind of activism. It's the let's put it this way. It's a long discussed question of if tolerant society should tolerate intolerance. And my answer has been always very clear, no. So for me, intolerance should not be tolerated. But with speech, it's a little bit hard because people in comments, like if we start vetoing every comment, that might be very difficult. And right now there is no legal base for it. However, what we should do is we need to start considering actions. When people's actions are actively harming the foundations of our democracies, those things should be reported and prosecuted. And we should have a legal basis for it. RC, thanks and welcome. Raven 7, Dennis just showed images of air defense placed in central Moscow. What do you think? Yeah, I saw that. They're placing Panzer on top of Moscow. Well, I'm glad that they are putting air defense in Moscow. less defense on the Ukrainian front lines, the more the better. While they're putting air protections to protect Putin's ego, they are very fine. But this is just underscores Raven 7. This is actually a good point. So people are still somewhat worried. There's still like a small margin of population that are worried that Putin is this maniac that is ready to destroy the world. Guys, a person who is ready to destroy the world in the nuclear explosions and a nuclear war does not take anti-air assets from his troops' storages to put them in Moscow to protect his ass. That is afraid for his own life, being struck by a random Ukrainian drone. I hope this makes it completely clear for Putin who Putin is. Matt Robertson, welcome to the band of brothers. Dominic, wouldn't it be great to give Ukraine night gear and have battalions that attack Russian troops only at nighttime? I mean, they've been doing it since 2014. Pretty much all of the charities, they have the term for it, which is called the churn equipment. It's drones, night vision goggles, optics, like equipment, stuff like that. It's just churn. Like the night vision equipment, it's not like some kind of major strategy. We need to understand in this war, that's not a major strategy. It's just something that's just there. No one is already considering it. It's just like a fact of life. It's like the same as drones. The drones just keep coming. They stop being something, wow, we should be using drones. Oh my God, there is like a unit that if they would use drones. No one is already discussing this. It's just a fact of life. And a lot of the charities that you donate, which you should donate to Ukrainian charities, you should donate to U24 and other charities. I definitely saw Ellie posting a link to Come Back Alive charity. Ellie, do you have the link by any chance somewhere nearby that you can share? So Come Back Alive charity, maybe I can open it. And it's a very, very trusted charity. And it's a very, very good one. And they are doing a lot of things. Did you ever find out from the enforcers how to send money to the Jaga Jaga Igor guy? Not yet. Or say life in UA. Thanks, Ellie. Yes, so I'm still looking for it, but the recently Jaga Jaga guy, the Robert Magyar, he actually on his Telegram channel he put up a request. I will actually show you this. Let me show you. I hope I can show somehow. Where is it? Robert Magyar. There we go. Robert Magyar. Okay, can I stream this? Okay, I hope you can see this. So this is Telegram if you are unfamiliar. So they've been gathering some money. They essentially wait, can you see the video or does it? Yeah, you cannot see the video. Okay, let me see if I can just stream the video. Okay, I think this streams the video. So they were doing essentially these here's a demonstration. Yeah, okay, there we go. He's showing. So essentially they got this new design of an explosive, the detonator for these. And so they've been doing gathering where they said they want 1 million hryvnias, and they were able to gather it within 39 minutes, which is amazing. And I was actually able to participate in that. So I sent some of the money that I still had essentially in advance that I haven't donated still in January. Well, no, January I donated. It's just more of a February in advance, but doesn't matter. The point is I've been able to send some of the money, but I would like to still get in touch with them for us to do it as a part of a concentrated effort of a charity. The only thing so now I know their card details, and we'll see if they are. If we'll see if this is something we'll be able to use in our stream. So we'll see. So that's the answers about Robert Magyar. Rosli, welcome. FPV drones, yeah. I mean, they're cheap. Like it's actually kind of genius. You have a $400 drone that can deliver and maybe destroy a BMP, like at least a BMP-1, I think, for sure. And Russia has plenty of BMP-1s. And that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, it's like $400. Yeah. All right, let's do last maybe 10, 15 minutes, guys, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So if you have any last questions, we are gonna wrap this stream up, and then we're gonna talk more about stuff after the Ramstein meeting. Dominic, how crazy is it to get Ukraine to flank Russian troops and attack them from Belgorod Oblast, forcing them to flee to Donbas Oblast? Ukraine will not go on the Russia proper territory. It's been already said. Ukraine has already acknowledged that they will not attack the Russian territory. Ross Lee, thanks for 15. I don't know what this is. What's the currency? Malaysian ringgit. Oh, wow. That's actually that's very unique. Wow. So you're from Malaysia. I hope you are. Welcome. Stupid question. Is it better to donate crypto or real money to Ukraine? It's better to donate real money. Crypto is a little bit complex. It's crypto is mostly used by Russian activists because they cannot have their Russian bank accounts. They cannot open bank accounts in any proper country, so they have like their workarounds around the crypto market. But Ukraine has proper connections with a lot of the official systems and payment systems. PayPal is working in Ukraine, so there is no necessity to have any kind of shady crypto schemes. Bigal, thanks for 10 pounds. Buy yourself and your mods a pint. I need to buy something for the mods. That is for sure. We're gonna have a big discussion about how to improve this channel. We're having a little bit of a down streak. But it's a whole discussion. Crypto is sus as hell. It's not sus. Now I can talk like as an economics. So crypto is not sus. Crypto is a highly volatile speculative asset. As any highly volatile speculative asset, people, if they want to invest in crypto, they need to invest what they are able to lose, and preferably not to use any leverage. So if people are okay with losing the money that they are setting in crypto, and if they're okay with not using leverage because otherwise it can be costly, then crypto is a perfectly reasonable investment portfolio asset as a high risk asset, high risk, high reward. But thinking that it's like some kind of stable asset, that's I think is just silly. Elgda, thanks for 12 euros. Ramstein, for sure. Yeah, a lot of people like crypto, including the criminals, obviously. I don't know if you talked about those AMX-10 RCs in earlier chat, but I'd like to hear what you think about those. So we need to understand that those are not tanks, and they're not supposed to do the job of the tank. They're supposed to be job of a fire support vehicle. And as a fire support vehicle, they're really good. They're highly mobile. They're able to quickly flank an enemy. And if it fights mostly against like Russian BMP-1s, BMP-2s, it's an amazing vehicle. Like it's really good. And we're seeing that right now the biggest problem for Ukrainians is just like a smaller groups. So that's why it's going to be really good. So it's a very, very good vehicle for what exactly Ukraine is fighting against. Because people say it's like, oh, but it's not a tank, it cannot penetrate tank armor. And it's like, well, Ukraine is not really fighting a tank warfare here over. Like Ukraine is fighting like human waves of Wagner suicide people and maybe some of the light armor usually. And then there is an occasional tank, but then he can be zeroed in and shut down by artillery because it's usually he's somewhere like in a position. So it's a great addition for Ukrainian military. Hexo Henry, part of something is better than nothing. Fair enough. Yes. RC, thanks for your work. When are your live streams generally? Well, we've talked last stream that I will be streaming more. That we're gonna do experimentally because my videos are not covering like my format is not very good for an everyday map update. Essentially, I'm focusing too much on a big picture. So releasing it, for example, a couple of days a week is fine. So instead of having before 3 days a week plus one stream, right now I am taking essentially one of these days, and I'm putting a stream in it. So we're gonna have 2 streams and 2 videos per week, and we'll see how this work out. We'll see how what's the. Do you have any contacts in the Russian resistance? No. I don't. I'm not very good at contacting with Russians. I'm too emotional. Uh, Stuart Bonds. Yeah, sorry. I didn't. I need to remind people that you need to tag me. Yeah. What do you make of Zaporizhia developments? Hope Ukraine can continue on to Melitopol and beyond. I mean, we're expecting somewhat hard couple of next months. Russia is putting their troops now on the ground, so we might expect Russia to push from different directions in the coming months. But I think they're gonna die out by the April. Has the invasion of Ukraine left Russia susceptible to Chinese incursion to claim territory in the future? Hoko, China doesn't need to do anything. Like Russia, whenever it's gonna be out of resource and power, it's just gonna fall into the Chinese lap because they don't have any other option. So that's true. RC, I see. Did you donate it 2 times for $20? You should refund one of them because I see it's the same question. Yes. So live streams, as I said, 2 times per week, and videos also 2 times per week. Usually, I will announce the stream a day before, and it's going to be like an upcoming stream on the page. And videos are usually Monday, Tuesday, and then Saturday, Sunday. I make videos usually. Nobody knows, of course, but what is your guess about Ukraine will end the war? Ukraine can end this war this year if there's going to have enough weapons. Everything is dependent if the weapons are going to get supplied. If we're going to continue waffling with like, oh my God, we cannot send tanks until US send tanks, then it's going to get dragged on. JD. JD is writing, will the nutrition facts of the back of the pack of sunflower seeds disclose that they may contact some Russian corpse? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to say made from organic material. Writing straight from Siberia here. Wow. Risky man. But I appreciate it. What do you think about Elon Musk's stand on this war? He wants Ukraine to allow Russia to keep Crimea and sue for peace in favor. I already expressed. Elon Musk has won the game of capitalism. Like he's just beat it. So now, as with anything, he's just fucking around and trying to figure out. And people are just reacting to him because he has a lot of money. That's pretty much it. What he wants or what he does doesn't really influence the current warfare. Can have a field day with trash talking on the internet as much as he wants, but we're overestimating his influence. Yeah, Jake Bro has a better axe to grind against Musk because he's maybe more into U.S. politics or whatnot. I don't have such a big stake in U.S. politics. I'm here mostly for Ukraine. So for me, Elon Musk is like, okay, so it's a rich guy. Well, congratulations. There's additional percentage of you out there. Been really feeling down lately of the atrocities of Russia. The stream really pumped me up, dude. This is what I'm here for, right? Because sometimes we miss the point that things are dire and bad, and for sure. But we also see that the war is moving into the positive directions. We see that things are getting towards a more positive outcome. Well, I mean, like the sooner Ukraine gets everything, the more positive the outcome will be. So, Ozem, welcome to Brother Drums. Welcome. Zlogi, when valuing all military, we need to remember that the ruble has lost a lot of value since the production. So Russian weapon costs less than those $400 drones. I mean, it's not about the money. The point is not the money. Yeah, I don't have a take on Elon Musk, Dominic. I don't really feel like commenting. Like I don't have anything good to add about Elon Musk. As I say, for me, he's not a very interesting person to discuss, to be honest. Like I just don't find him that interesting. I think a lot of his takes are like sensational, but that's about it. Uh, but I don't have I don't have any strong feelings towards Elon Musk. So if you do, well, good for you, man. Yeah, it's like I mean, it's like whatever. As I said, like he won the game of uh, the game of capitalism, so he has the ability to do whatever the fuck he wants. So well, okay. Like I wish I had the money, but then again, like I would instantly donate that money to Ukraine. So I mean, he has all of this money and he doesn't donate it to Ukraine. So what is he doing? He doesn't donate to Ukraine. He doesn't subscribe to this channel. He doesn't like this video. He doesn't share it on Twitter. What is he doing with his life? Disgusting. Yes, yes. All right, guys, let's stop wrapping it up. Thank you so much for this stream. We have been over 929 people right now watching till the end. Thank you so much for being strong. Thank you so much through getting through all of my rants, through a lot of my explanations. Please don't hate on Germany in general. Please stop. Like I've heard people like comparing Germany to Nazis. Stop, 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 stop. Germans are doing a lot for Ukraine. A lot, a lot, a lot. We're having the issues only with indecisiveness of Olaf Scholz and the SPD party because either they're having some phantom pains or they are being malicious to their decisions. I don't really care about the reasons. But we've seen that ridiculing and making sure that the politics hear our opinions works in European context. We see that countries start taking that into account and the pressure works. And we don't need to let off the pressure until Olaf Scholz is convinced to deliver such a necessary things as tanks to save more lives in Ukraine. Yeah, Germans are amazing. Like seriously, it's. I really hope this is our main takeaway from here. And then we're gonna talk more about after the what is it, Ramstein meeting. and we're gonna discuss. I'm gonna get oh, last goodie, guys, for you that are here at the end. Give me a second. So something I will be doing, and yes. Let me stream this. What is it called? This one? Okay, I hope you see this. So someone leaked, essentially got a hands on and got their hands on the Russian methodology book that is being handed out essentially to the commanding officers of the Russian military on how they fight in the city environments. This is now in Russian, but this is essentially, as you can see, it says Moscow year 2022 at the bottom. So it's a fresh one. So what is described here, it's not a secret for Ukraine, but it's describing essentially how the Russians are, I'm going to find some kind of builds. It describes the Russian, like how are they storming cities. It's describing how Russians are, what kind of equipment they're using. It's describing what kind of equipment and how they should be paired. What is the essentially their tactics here. So it's describing how they was like, why everything is clear and understandable in this picture, but like it's describing how they should be set up during different things. So what I will be doing, I'll be trying to translate this, and then we're gonna do either a separate video, or we're gonna essentially we're gonna make a whole discussion of this when I'm gonna put it up in English maybe. So basically someone got their hands on the Russian tactics manual, and I'm going to be digging into it. That's the kind of the last goodie for you that to end the stream. I think it's going to be pretty fun. That will be pretty interesting. Yeah, for sure. That's a kid's manual. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. A kid's manual how to assault the schools. Yeah. It's amazing stuff. No, obviously this book doesn't matter. It's all about, discussing stuff and like interesting. Where like, I mean, with this Russian war in Ukraine, we're looking at the train crash in slow motion, guys. And I hope everyone that is watching me understands this. That this is literally the definition of a slow motion train crash. We are seeing how the Russian Federation, an authoritarian regime of Putin, is crushing itself into wall and destroying itself from inside, killing any kind of perspective and future prospects for the whole Russian population and Russian state. We're seeing how millions of Russians are saying okay to give up on the future of their country, the future of their children, the future of everything, in a sense of some kind of a ghostly propaganda victory. So for me, it is completely unbelievable that this is what we're experiencing this in my lifetime. So I'm looking very closely to follow this through, make fun of the Russians, and make sure that we remember very fondly how every single Russian got kicked out of Ukraine. Slava Ukraini, guys, and I see you next time.